actually in the screen?
Yep, you're right in the bullseye middle. And it's recording. I don't like it.
Why?
Because you're not smiling or anything.
Well, I'm not ready to shoot yet. Hey there all, FG coming at you again. Hey, got another project here. This is something that I've already installed into my wife's RAV4, and humorously, both of my children are now driving RAVs as well, so I'm outnumbered in the Nissan camp. It's Toyota 3-1, so we're losing. But anyway, this is a traffic dash cam, I guess you could call it, something of that nature, right? It's something that has been catching on with more popularity. I haven't seen any factory installations yet, which I think would be kind of interesting, but I guess nobody's really gone that far yet, at least that I'm aware of anyway. So these are aftermarket. So these are, I guess you'd say, a mid-range camera. In the notes, I'll go ahead and post where these were purchased from. I actually bought these from the manufacturer, not from Amazon or eBay. And they were having a sale, and they came in a 3-pack. So one of them is in the Boss's RAV, as I mentioned. One of them is going to go here in the Frontier. Another one is going to go in one of the kids' vehicles, and then I might end up buying a 4th one of these, or perhaps something else. I don't know. We're going to have to figure that one out on what that's going to involve. But we're going to be getting a 4th camera of some sort somewhere along the way. So give me a moment here. I'm going to switch camera views, and I'm going to show you the beginning of the installation. This is going to be another one of those videos in multiple parts, because I'm going to basically do a piece and then stop and then video and explain and then do another piece, because I'm running solo today. The boss is inside doing laundry and other items, since it's Saturday, and I've got a honey-do list here, you know. So anyway, cleaning up the wiring in the RAV was the first honey-do list, and so I'll get to that in a minute. I'll show you how everything's going, and hopefully this gives you maybe some inspiration if you think about it yourself. Dash cams are getting more popular, due to the insane amount of litigations and lawyers that we have in our country, and the issues that are popping up in some cities and in some states, where it's a he said, she said kind of situation. The police arrive, and things sometimes escalate a little out of hand. So having incontrovertible video proof to take to court can be a very good thing. Somebody cuts you off in traffic and you end up running into them, and they claim that it was your fault, and they're going to sue, and their insurance company's in it, and all this blah blah blah. And you're like, well, okay, we'll just play back the video footage, and that'll really show you the truth of who did what. And all of a sudden the whole tune changes, and the lawyer's like, oh, well, never mind, we'll settle. How much are we going to pay you? Yeah. So anyway, on to the install. Okay, so as I said, this is going to be broken up in chunks, because I'm shooting everything solo just with my hand cam here. So obviously you can see here's the rear view mirror. Everybody knows what that is. And here's the gauges from another project, and the GPS there. And over to the far side is my Edge CS OBD2 digital gauge. And here's the newest edition, kind of hiding behind the mirror, which I figure is out of the line of sight, and therefore shouldn't get any ire from local law enforcement, or cause any trouble with my viewing angles, etc., etc. And it's going to have a nice straight shot view right out the windshield. So if I pan back a little bit, you can see right there's the camera. So that's exactly what the camera is going to be seeing, is basically exactly what I'm seeing right here. So I already tucked the cable here up into the headliner, which is really easy. You don't actually even need any tools. The headliner on these trucks is not super tightly fitted along the windshield, or actually the rear window. Honestly, that's going to be another project too. I'm going to be adding an electric motor to open and close the rear window, so that'll be a project that's pretty cool. So tucking the wiring in is really easy. And then you get over here. You get to the A-pillar, and you can see right now that this is where I've stopped, so I can begin filming, and here's the cable hanging down in the way. And let me get a little closer and zoom in here. And so this is the old crab handle, you know, or the grab handle, assist handle, whatever people like to call it. Once you get these two bolts out, which are just underneath these little pop-off panels, you take the handle off, and then the A-pillar trim just unsnaps. There are only literally two bolts holding it in place, and it's just these two bolts, because obviously they wanted some kind of substantial structure here for the handle to attach to. So right here, I have to take this bolt out, and this cap just pops out with a screwdriver. It's real easy. You just pry on it a little bit, and it just jumps loose. And there's a little plastic tang here, which actually keeps the cover from falling off. So you just kind of move that out of the way a little bit, and you can get in right in there with your wrench, and just go ahead and pop that out. So I'm just going to take that out and remove it. Then I'm going to peel off the A-pillar trim and run the cable down. Now here's what I'm thinking. I'm probably just going to go right along here, down the base of the windshield, because in one of the other projects, if you caught that, I added electrical wiring back here, which I'm going to pan the camera around, and there you can see it, which actually comes up through the tray, where a lot of people just put spare coins or keys or anything else that happens to be banging around. And this is where the gauges are located. So the gauges obviously required 12-volt electrical power. So I thought that it would be, hey, why don't I just put some power taps up here right off the cabling that's already coming in, and therefore I've just got this little octopus up here, and so I'm just going to run my power cable across to here, do a neat little curly cue here, put some wire ties on it, get it out of the way, and then just plug it up into one of these power sockets that are available up here on the top, and that should complete the install, instead of having to try to come over here and run all the way down in through here and tear the whole side of the dash off, and then try to come all the way across underneath of here, and then end up having plugs dangling over here. Because as you can see, it's already getting a little crowded here on this end. There's my 4-band Yasu radio, ham radio, and this is a traffic control yellow and white LED box, which is up on the top of the roof, and then this is just a power expander, you can see right here, for plugging things in. So to try to not have another cable hanging down in this area, I think just coming across here and plugging in right here is going to be a lot quicker and a lot neater. So that's the route that I'm going to take for now, and we'll see how that goes. This camera mount is kind of interesting. If I pan back a little bit here, here's obviously the suction cup, and the suction cup has glue on the back, which is pretty common for a lot of suction cups these days to enhance the adherence to the surface that you're attaching to, which is usually glass. But what I wanted to point out is that this is actually hardwired. This cable comes in through here in the back, drops down, and comes in through here and actually goes into the mount. The camera can be unsnapped. So if it was ever to fail, or you needed to do something else, some type of maintenance, you can unsnap it from the mount, but the wire itself has a little socket which is customized to the camera. It's not a standard USB or anything like that. It's actually built into the port that the camera snaps into to actually retain it physically. So you're actually hanging the camera and connecting the power all at the same time. So there's no way to disconnect it here and run the wire in the opposite direction, coming from down here and then coming back up and running this way. So you really only have one choice. You have to start from here and work across and then come down. So that's exactly what I'm doing. And so yeah, this mount's a little weird. So far I haven't had any problem with the one in the wife's RAV. That's been in there for a couple of months. Just wanted to see how they worked before I went ahead and spent the time on installing any others. And the picture quality and everything's actually pretty good. And it'll actually broadcast to your phone as well if you set up the app, and it'll broadcast real time. So you can actually see what the camera is seeing, only from the distance of the Bluetooth connection. So it's not like you could be home and see what the vehicle is doing. It's not that kind of a system. But say someone in the back seat was curious to see what the camera was seeing, they could actually do that. So that's kind of cool. So without further ado, I'm going to continue. All right, so here's the next part of the install. And like I said, after you get those two bolts out that hold the grab panel. Nissans are basically put together like a giant Lego set. Pretty much everything snaps together. They have very few bolts or screws in any of the trim panels. Everything just pops in. So you can see what I just did here. I just pulled that back, ran all the way down along here, and the dashboard at the windshield end actually has a gap, just with some foam filling it, and so it's really easy to run the cable right along in there, and all of a sudden you see right here, just bingo, the cable magically pops out of the dashboard. So as soon as I get that run all the way across, it's going to be completely invisible. So all I did was basically just pull this down some. I didn't even remove the A-pillar entirely. This white plastic right here, this is the drain tube for the sunroof channels to get the water out from, you know, whatever gets past the sunroof seals. And so you definitely want to make sure that you don't squash that or anything like that. And also over here on this side, let me swing around. Here's your curtain airbag, so you want to be sure that you stay away from all of that as well. Now the sensors are not located in this area, so people that talk about, oh, you better remove your battery, you're going to blow all your airbags. No, there's absolutely no truth to that at all. The airbags are deployed on impact by the airbag control unit, which is actually located under the center console. There are sensors in the doors, and there are at least one, maybe two, sensors behind the front bumper. So definitely you never want to play with those. That, if you take a bolt out and move the sensor around, yes, absolutely you can trigger and deploy your airbags, because the sensor doesn't know whether it's still bolted to the truck or not, and it's going to believe that you just had an impact. So you definitely don't ever want to play with those. But this is the airbag curtain itself right here. You just want to be very careful not to damage it, but it's not going to just bang and blow off in your face. So I've already had the A-pillar on the driver's side out. You can see there's a little bit of a gap at the top there, because all of the wiring for this monster runs down inside the driver's side pillar, and it barely fit. So that's why there's a little bit of a gap. The plastic just doesn't want to sit quite right anymore. So everything is good on that end, and I'm just going to go ahead and reassemble this, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, you just take those two bolts out and the handle just pops right out. It's really quite a simple install. Now, if you don't have a power tap on your dash like I do, which very few people, I'm sure, probably that would be a rarity, I can bet. You would just want to continue right through here. So here's the A trim. You'd want to come right down past that, leaving the bolts out that you'd already removed. Come right down through here. And this piece right here is a separate section from the upper. So like I said, it's put together like a giant Lego set, and it literally is. There's three pieces over here. There's this guy, which is the upper, and the handle mount. There's a mid or joint or filler, whatever you'd like to call it. And then there's this guy, which is just the beginning of the kick panel trim. So that just rolls right up in a big curve here. So that's basically it. So if you weren't running your wiring over to the dash, you would just be coming right down inside. You can see where this is starting to gap already, where I've pulled that out. You would just run your wiring down through here, come around underneath the dash, and bring it right over here, and you could pick up your lighters over here, which would then provide power to your camera. And they nicely provided a 90-degree plug here. And how these cameras work is basically whenever it senses power, the vehicle comes on, it thinks that a new drive cycle is being initiated, and it begins recording. And then when the power is turned off, all of the video that's been recorded is flushed to the memory card, and it's kept there, so that if you needed to go back and review it later, it would be there for you. And also, as most cameras do, this has an impact sensor, so that if it determines that you've been hit, with sufficient force, that it believes the vehicle is damaged, it will at that point then go ahead and freeze a certain portion of video instead of continuing to record, because this runs, I've got to say, I believe it was a 4-hour loop, and then records over whatever had come before that. So if you had an impact and you were waiting for the police and the flatbed to arrive, if the camera continued to run, it would have overwritten all of your evidence from the initial problem, and all you'd have is 4 hours of video of your vehicle sitting at the side of the road with people walking by going, wow, that's really messed up. Look what happened to his truck. So as I mentioned, most cameras have that feature. It's not something that's any kind of unique at all to this device, but just is a very good thing to have. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and that should be all of it for today. And from now on, I'll now have video photographic evidence of anything bad that may have happened. And actually this will be pretty neat that I can record 4 hours of off-roading video as well from the basically the viewpoint of the driver, along with the hero cams that I've been using mounted at different points on the chassis. So I'm actually looking forward to being able to weave the footage from here into some of those videos as well. So this is actually going to have multiple purposes, I believe, and should be a nice addition to my repertoire of high-tech geeky toys. Okay? Hence the name, right? Frontier Geek. So geek on, everybody, and I will catch you on the flip side with the next video. Get out there and have some fun.